There comes a time in every parent's life that they are going to hear those dreadful words from their children of, I hate you, or this is stupid, or you're stupid. Or my personal favorite, when they roll their eyes so far into the back of their head that you're pretty confident that they're gonna get stuck there, and they do a, whatever, or I don't care. My daughter is 4. And I have seen that one from her, okay? But as hard as it is to hear those words, that's all they are. They are just words. They are a mask for our children that they are hiding behind, because in that moment, they cannot articulate themselves successfully enough, or they don't know how to express the emotions that they're feeling in that moment. I mean, quite honestly, how many of us have been in that argument with our spouse or our significant other, and things just kind of come spilling out like verbal vomit in the moment, and then after the fact you're like, yeah, I didn't mean that, okay? We've all done it, and that's exactly what our children are doing. And quite frankly, our brains are supposed to be more matured and way more developed than they are. So just imagine that, like all those things that they're trying to deal with and they can't, when we as adults can't do it either. Now, by the end of today's video, what I want to do is I'm going to provide you with practical tools that are going to be backed by research that you're going to be able to use with ease on a day-to-day basis in order to address those behaviors. Welcome back. If this is our first time meeting, my name is Alicia Tomowski, and this is my channel, The Parent Brain Ball Game. Here, my passion is to provide you with parenting tools, not tips, tricks, or hacks, but parenting tools that have an applied behavior analysis foundation, and I like to think that I make them user-friendly. Now, I want to set you guys up for success. The odds are is you're a caregiver and you have a short amount of time that you're working with anyways, so I kind of mean to make these videos relatively short, and I need to get to the point as quickly as possible. So go get yourself a notebook, because here we go. Let's touch the surface of verbal behavior, okay? Now, verbal behavior is this method for teaching language that focuses on the idea that the meaning of a word is found within its function. Now, let's give you a super basic example. When you were first teaching your child how to speak and you wanted them to be able to say mommy or daddy. Now, when they first say mommy or daddy, it doesn't hold the value of labeling. It's not identifying that you are mommy or daddy. That word serves as attention, but let me explain why. So by that I mean, when they first start speaking and they're starting to say mommy or daddy, it's when I say it to you, this person, I am getting so much attention. I'm getting a smile, I'm getting cuddles, I'm getting hugs, and everyone around me is so happy. I'm getting attention for saying this word to this particular individual. Now, of course, yes, you are later going to be carrying the value of labeling. They're going to understand and discriminate the fact that you are mommy, you are daddy, yes. But originally, when they're learning that word functions as attention-seeking behavior, or it's reinforced, I guess is a better way of saying it, by attention. Now, if you've been following me, there are 4 primary functions to a behavior, and they are: if your child is denied access to a tangible, if your child is seeking attention, if there's a sensory input, sensory processing issue there, and or if your child is trying to escape or avoid a demand. So how does this all tie in with that extreme language that we're hearing from our children when we hear them say, I hate you, or you're so stupid? What I'm suggesting is that we use this concept of verbal behavior and look at the function of the word. Why is your child using that particular language or that particular word in this moment? Are they trying to get my attention? Are they trying to gain access to something that I just denied them? Is there potentially a sensory overload issue going on here? Or are they trying to divert my attention and delay, avoid, or escape a demand that I just placed on them? So before we go any further, the first thing that I kind of want to mention here is, again, What we want to focus on is the known. We want to focus on the function, what we can see in the environment as to what our child is trying to get out of their environment. What we don't want to do is we don't want to presume how our child feels. We want to work on opening up that dialogue in order to help them, assist them in replacing that language. We don't want to say, that's not what you mean. You don't want to say that to me. Really what you're feeling is, because quite frankly, we don't really know. We have no idea what they're feeling. We don't really know what they want to say. What we do know and what we want to work on knowing is working on our feet and identifying that function of the behavior, at which point we then open up the dialogue and communicate, how do we replace that? Okay, so what I want to do right now is I kind of want to go down those 4 functions of a behavior, and then I kind of want to give you guys just kind of an example scripts of maybe that you would want to use in that particular case. Okay, so let's first address denying access to a reinforcer. Let's set up the scenario in terms that my child wants to play video games. I said no because it's time to go to the store. Okay, he then tells me that he hates me. Now, in that moment, I'm able to see, I said no to the video games. You then say, I hate you. You are experiencing some sort of emotions going on over here because I denied you access to those video games. My script would look something like this. I would say, you know what? I understand it. You look very upset that you can't play your game right now, but we're gonna go eat our lunch, okay? And then I'm gonna guide my child to go eat their lunch. I'm going to squash that behavior and we are going to be redirected. Now, once everyone is more regulated, I am then gonna come back to the situation and I'm then going to address it and say, you know what? Earlier when you told me that you hated me, I think it was because I told you no to the video games. Open up that dialogue. Okay, how were you feeling? Were you mad at me? Open it up. Try to get your child expressing their feelings and talking it through with them, okay? You then help them replace that with more appropriate language. My suggestion would be not to play the game of, what do you think you could have said to mommy? Because one, quite frankly, like, that's just not going to be effective. Like, in that moment, if he would have known what to say to you to get a better response, he would have said it. But he doesn't have it. Like, he's not equipped enough to be able to appropriately engage with you in that moment. So what we need to do is we need to tell him, hey, you know what? Next time you feel like that or next time you're really mad, you just need to say just that to me. You know what, Mom? That really makes me mad and I really want to play those games right now. Again, it's providing that language to our child that they don't particularly have in this case. Now let's say that your child is using that extreme language of I hate you to escape or avoid a demand, okay? Again, stick to the facts. You just got done telling your child to go do their chores. They then said, I hate you. Instead of engaging in that dialogue and then sending them to their room because now they're screaming, because guess what? I just avoided my chores. You don't want to do that. Stick to the facts. You want to say something like this. It is time to go do your chores. You're going to go sweep the floor. It's not a negotiation right now. Here, I'm offering the idea that there are times that you can negotiate with me. Right now is just not it. I'm then going to follow up with, you can either go do your chore now or there's going to be a consequence. Here, I am providing a boundary, a hard, fast boundary. You have a choice to do chores or you're gonna get a consequence. I then am gonna end with, all right, it is now your choice. What is it that you are going to choose? Here, this is identifying to your child that it's not my choice of what's gonna happen right now. You get to choose what happens right now. That offers a little bit more responsibility to your child. Now, the third one for attention-seeking behavior is super hard because whatever it is that your child just said to you, like, gets under your skin. That's the one that as soon as your kid says it, your like head snaps back and you start talking to them. Okay, your kid knows it and that's why they said it. Okay, and that one's like super hard to understand because attention is attention is attention. Good attention, bad attention. it is attention. If there's like a hustle and bustle of the holidays, or there's a ballet recital going on for, his sister, and there's no attention on him, if he can do something or say something to you and it gets under your skin, and then all of a sudden you're pulling him off into the corner, you're pulling him into the bedroom and you're screaming at him, it doesn't matter. He's got you all to himself, okay? So whatever it is that your child just said to you, this is gonna be really hard, you just ignore it. You say, okay, I heard you. And then you walk away, all right? And then once everybody is regulated, we then come back to the situation. You sit your child down and you talk about it. Now, here again, it gets a little tricky. Some children are able to communicate their feelings, are able to express that, like, I was really upset, I was frustrated, I was feeling mad, sad, those types of things. Other children just aren't there yet, or can't understand or appropriately articulate emotions, okay? So at that point, if your child doesn't like the touchy-feely, can't communicate like that sense very well, what you want them to do, go back to the facts. Just have them explain the environment and explain the situation to you from their eyes. I mean, it can be so simple as, Mom, you were sitting over there with Jessica for like 20 minutes and I was trying to get you to look at this picture that I drew for you and I said your name 5 times and you didn't hear me. Okay, all right. It's that I didn't hear you. And then again, we don't play games. It becomes, you know what? When that happens, and again, you're describing the environment, the physical environment to your child. When those types of things happen, this is what I want you to do. This is what I know is going to get my attention. And I'm going to turn around and say, okay, let's do this, okay? The next potential function for that extreme language is going to be sensory. Now, sensory is the most difficult one to identify for your child because it's an internal feeling that a lot of children just aren't able to identify, okay? So what do we do in that case? In that particular case, if you've identified like your kid is not responding because of those 3 other functions, we need to remove them from the situation. We get them out, we put them into another bedroom, we get them out of put them into a car, remove them from that environment that is causing so much stress to them, okay? Then once everyone's back regulated, we then come back to the situation and say, okay, you know what? Are they able to identify what they were feeling? Like, were you hearing loud noises? Was your ears ringing? Was your head hurting? Was there like a yucky feeling in your stomach? If your kiddo cannot do that, you start assessing the physical aspects. What was your body doing? Like, was Shelly screaming and then like your ears started ringing? Or was Shelly screaming and then like your arms started fidgeting? Was your jaw starting to clench? Were you starting to jump up and down a little bit? Was your legs starting to shake? And maybe you noticed some of those things. If you noticed that your child's body started rapidly moving, like things started picking up a little bit more, okay? We then address those things with our kiddos. And now this one does require a bit of a pre-teaching component in a sense that we identify all of those physical aspects to our we identify all those physical aspects to our child, and then we start saying, okay, when you start seeing your body doing X, Y, and Z, you need to get out, you need to go to the bathroom, you need to go into the other room, you need to tell mommy that you need to take a break, you need to tell daddy that you want to go outside, okay? That also is going to require us to maybe watch our child a little bit closer in those particular environments so we can help identify that for our child. Again, it's not a game. I want my child to be successful. So if I'm at a party and I'm starting to see like her jaw's starting to clench or her foot's starting to tap, I'm going to say, okay, you know what? We need to go outside. It's time for you to go to the bathroom. Okay, remember what we talked about. So there's that pre-teaching component that you just might need assist your child to identify that sensory component to this particular behavior before they're able to be successful. Now, the key points here are that I want you to focus on the function of the extreme language rather than the superficial words. Now, that's not to say you're ignoring the superficial words because they're inappropriate. We want to replace them with something more appropriate, but we are replacing them with something more appropriate. Remember, don't make it a guessing game. In the meantime, you also do not want to use feeling words because we quite frankly have no idea how our child is feeling. We're just looking at the facts of how they're engaging in their environment. Once you open up that dialogue, if your child starts using feeling words, yes, capitalize on that, talk them through it, those types of things. But don't tell them how they were feeling, which is going to be really difficult, which is going to be kind of like a reframing your mind. So with that, my friends, it wraps it up for me today, guys. So if you found value in today's video, I hope that you hit subscribe and that little bell icon that lets you know when I do future videos or trainings, which I do try to do them weekly. And comment below if maybe there's future behaviors that maybe you would like to see me touch on, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.